In the far past years, when human discovered fire and experienced the community life beside the fire, he began talking with people about the happenings he had experienced during the day through gestures and suggestive movements, because the tendency to communicate has been always present. Apparently, this very tendency to communicate fostered the emergence of words and language. Human narrated his hauntings and struggles with other animals during the day. A long time passed, and the oldest man in the tribe, who had heard and kept in mind these tales more than anybody else, began restating them for others in his tribe with appealing words and tone. Sometimes he stood up, simulating some of the exciting scenes of the story. Gradually, the foundations of narration art were established. During the history, narrators strengthened their performance and met the desire to communicate using simple appliances, music instruments, and etc. Heroes and champions emerged from such stories. Authors wrote and narrators narrated. Then dramas involving a number of narrators emerged all over the world, including Greece, and the modern theater began to emerge, and finally radio, TV, cinema, and other offsprings of narration were born. These offsprings isolated the old narrator, ignoring the fact that he still can impress the audience and convey the concepts to them with his rich experience, simplicity, and attraction. We shouldn't leave him alone. He dominates on old literature. He remembers diverse pieces of poem and prose. He is a speaking treasure, not an antique in the museum. In Iran, keeping the pace with the world, Shahnameh narration, the loyal child of narration, emerged in far past years. This traditional performance has created taziye or shabikhani, namely the collective narration. Telling jokes, speeches, poem reciting, and authorship are other consequences of Shahnameh narration all over the world.
بیشتر آثار شکسپیر هم از روی مکتوبات کسانی برداشته شده که از رو همین روایتگری.
Most of Shakespearean dramas are derived from writings of those who have imitated narration. We return to the past. This is an Eastern slogan. As the proverb says, until the root is in the water, there is hope for fruit. Nist theater group decided to review one of the aspects of Shahnameh narration, a style in which the tales are narrated using the elements of Iranian common culture, proverbs, poems, and traditional music. This style has even impressed the ones who don't speak Persian. Since the Iranian narration performance was taken as criterion, a text of a great author was considered, so that through a research process and a workshop performance, a powerful text and a powerful performance method are incorporated, and a promising feedback is resulted in this theater. In the process of performing this theater, the situations are considered in the same way as is present in William Shakespeare's work. The only difference is that using the Iranian traditional music and combining it with Western music and also Eastern culture elements, especially Iranian ones, a new version is presented. The situations of the original story, such as the wedding of Romeo and Juliet, or the mourning for Juliet, and also the first encountering of these two lovers, are created based on Iranian culture and a fanciful viewpoint, and the characters were balanced with tangible characters in Iranian culture carefully, so far as it doesn't damage the original characters. A familiar story for all nations and a fluent and intimate trend face-to-face with the viewer is the result of this theater. Like the Brechtian style, retaining spaces between the actor and his role is one of the capabilities of this Iranian tradition to affect the viewer's logic, not his or her feelings. The entire events are simply simulated for the viewer so that to prevent him or her from being engaged with the story's moments. So after he or she watches the theater completely, he or she has the opportunity to think about the story and to analyze it.
چوب دستی روایتگر همون وسیله ساده‌ای که نزدیک اون قرار داشت تا برای نقش‌ها عصا باشه یا بشه جسد مرکوتی.
The narrator's stick is the simple tool thrown beside him to be a cane or Mercutio's dead body or the Capulet garden wall, so that the entire images are created symbolically for the viewer.
تا هر لحظه با اون توسط روایتگر شعبده زیبا رخ بده.
The same stick sometimes visualizes the magician cane being used to create elegant magics every moment.
گرچه زبان عنصر اصلی برای روایتگری محسوب میشه.
Although language is a main element for narration, it is proved that the narrator's feelings prevents the viewer whose language differs from the narrator's from being separated from the performer. پرده‌خوانی or screen invite is itself a sub-branch of narration, in which the narrator narrates using a screen on which the major incidents are drawn. In this theater, this technique was used so that to create an element of the appearance of the theater's character in that era, and sometimes the actor of the theater communicates only with those paintings and revives them.